Hi friends, host Eric here. Here's talking with famous people. I am very excited to have coming up tomorrow evening a collaboration with this guy, the Distributist, and it's somebody that OG Zach, host Zach from talking with famous people, is host Zach. He set up. He's a fan of this guy. He's a self-described Western traditionalist, and I'm going to be engaging with him tomorrow. He's got 8,800 subscribers, so he's doing a lot better than me. And I didn't know anything about him until I just started watching this video right now. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about what he's doing here, or reference some things where we might agree and might disagree. Let me start with someplace where we're probably going to agree in some capacity.
Is an ageless spiritual tradition.
He's talking about Western traditionalism.
Not a traditionalist spirit of the age. Western traditionalists believe in individual agency in the light of a rational and discernible notion of goodness. We reject the Hegelian notion of historic inevitability. We reject the progressive assumption that successive circumstances are naturally better by virtue of their later occurrence. And we reject the utilitarian proposition that goodness can be measured mechanistically through some vague concept of utility.
Okay, so what he just talked about there is a rejection of relativism and a rejection of certain alternatives to a universalist or absolutist approach to things. I'm with him on the rejection of progressivism. I disagree that the central notion of it is that new is better, actually. I think the central notion of it is that a just society reflects a status quo closer to our ideal status quo by evaluating only the status and not the mechanisms by which the status is attained. So anyway, but that's a minor quibble there. He talks about rejecting cultural relativism and talks about different couple of ways that it manifests. One form of cultural relativism is to conclude that ethics are locked into a given culture, and that what's good or moral in one culture may be bad or evil in another culture, and that's okay, just how things are. But I absolutely reject cultural relativism, so I'm with the guy on that. And I reject moral relativism accordingly, which is to say, I don't believe that morals, ethical behavior is relative to the perspectives of the people who are engaged in evaluating the behavior. Now, granted, it's relevant to their evaluation, the evaluation they make, but it's not relevant in the sense that their perspectives aren't relevant like they aren't relevant in math. It doesn't matter what my perspective on the number 2 is. 2 of them still equal 4. Alright, now, where the Distributist and I are likely to disagree is on matters of truth. He prioritizes truth strongly, whereas I prioritize validity, and specifically say one ought not prioritize truth as significant because of reasons I've articulated in other videos, and I'm sure we'll get into with the Distributist tomorrow evening at 6:30. So, let me go back now. He talks about Western traditionalism being born of Christendom. It's not necessarily Christian, but it's born of that intellectual tradition, beginning with the ancient Greeks and moving forward through the Enlightenment and into the Industrial Revolution and so forth. He says it's lived, not done ironically, not abstractly understood for some ontological reason, but it's a methodology of living that requires you to behave in accordance with the principles that you ascribe to, or affirm, I guess would be a better way to put it. It's ethical. It's not ethnically particular, and it's not existentialist. It's an alternative to any of the number of ways that people over the course of history have rejected universalism when addressing normative issues. So he's saying Western traditionalism is specifically ethical, that this Western traditionalism provides a framework that we can say universally ought to be. We can make normative claims about the framework itself. It's an ageless spiritual tradition. It's not a traditionalist spirit of the ages. In other words, the universality of ethical concerns and of justice as interpreted by this guy or Western traditionalism aren't subject to temporal shifts based on taste. The Renaissance, I haven't heard this part, but let's see what he says. I'll try not to get too much echo going on here, but I gotta hear it.
Not reaction. Western traditionalism is a realist worldview that fights for the future. It is not a knee-jerk reaction or a sentimental nostalgia. Although we value and treasure the past as something that is real, as opposed to the purely hypothetical vision of the future, we understand that the past is, like all human things, imperfect. Moral responsibility exists in the present, where our actions lie, and the future, where our will is directed. As such, we neither seek to entome the knowledge of the past into a hollowed, golden age, or return to some primordial state of innocence. Morality is about action, and Western traditionalists are activists for their cause. I have been using this handy
Okay, well that's a different, a little equivocation of sorts going there, because activism is not action, and being an activist doesn't mean you're acting. So, I mean, probably you are, but it's not the only way to act, certainly. You can be an active moral agent without being an activist for any particular affirmation. So, okay, again, it quibbles. I like this guy right off the bat, I'll tell you that. I like him a lot. I like the clarity of his presentation. I like how much he spikes out. He's trying to prevent people from misusing his understanding of Western traditionalism to support team-based ontological claims. Stuff like, well, I associate with the Democrats, so I support this. It's really about you and your sense of identity and how this reinforces your notion of yourself as a good person if you identify with this group. As somebody who's making videos and trying to engage in positive discourse with the world, in other words, to be careful about the claims he's making and to promote an affirmation that is defensible, logical, sound, and well-defined. Something that's purposed and also worth evangelizing, proselytizing, whatever. So, Homeboy Banana Pants here is an interesting fellow. I think I can tell right away that he's stuck with a bit of a challenge in that there's individuals who are members of groups with labels on them that would like to either define themselves against or with him according to his label choices. Now what he's saying in this video is that's stupid, and he's right. Labels are stupid. I don't call myself a libertarian, although many of my political perspectives would be classified as such by most objective third parties, because I'm not purely anything. I'm somebody who can argue all the perspectives. I can argue them all with passion and effectiveness, even ones I think are idiotic. And my position, my basic position is, to the extent that you can advocate, if one can only advocate a single clear affirmation, mine is affirm a just discursive ecosystem. Everything else will follow. Preserve and affirm, uphold a just discursive ecosystem where people are fair, where people allow themselves to be pinned down so that progress can be made and dialectic can be achieved. Don't worry about the ends. Homeboy agrees with me on that. Utilitarianism sucks ass. Why? Well, first of all, it's built on hubris, the false belief that humans have that they can accurately predict the future in terms of impacts that they perceive or hypothesize will emerge from the action that they advocate. However, much of the time people are advocating action in complex chaotic systems that cannot be causally reduced and thus cannot be subjected to extrapolation to meaningful effect. You can't extrapolate out that which is not causally reducible and determine the future at any great distance away from yourself at all. Definitionally, necessarily, and obviously so. Thus it is the case that we ought not allow people to make arguments like that without shaming the fuck out of them. So, you know, that's my mission statement. That's my worldview. And I think it's better than homies. Just to throw down some gauntlet just so we have something to fight about. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I do give fucks. I give ample fucks in my own life. And I give ample fucks about the discursive space. And I give ample fucks about the discourse itself. But what I don't give any fucks about is which conclusion you choose to ascribe to. That's not the point. The only thing that matters is how you got there. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Looking forward to talking to homie here. I wonder if he looks like a cartoon character in real life. I bet there's a video with his face on it probably somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. I just looked at it. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to subscribe right now. Pew. Look at that shit. Subscribed. I'm subscribed to this motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about, dog. Dude, you got 100 and some videos and 8,800 subscribers. 8,000, almost 9,000 subscribers. I have 30 times as many videos as you. And about 3 times as few subscribers. So, obviously you're a better YouTuber than me. We'll see how we do with the thinking and the arguing. It's gonna be fun. Looking forward to it. Zach's awesome. He's gonna mediate the thing, and he's stunningly brilliant. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Don't forget to